Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I have something truly special to share with you. Through communication, patience, and connection, I show you how I gained the trust of this once wild Mustang and am able to get the first touches on him. This moment will set in motion a partnership that is like no other. From first touch to willing partner to competing in the South Carolina Mustang Challenge, I'm about to take you on a journey that is nothing short of magical. You can choose to have a handler halter your horse or not. You may also choose to have a drag line or none. I choose to halter my horses and have a drag line. The first reason I choose to do this is for safety for me and the horse. Sometimes situations happen where you need to either get your hands on the horse quickly or get it leading quickly, and having the halter and drag line can make this process faster. Another reason I choose to have a halter and drag on is sometimes you can get a horse that is a little more fight than flight. Having a drag line allows me to feel a bit safer in these situations so I can pick up the rope and direct the horse's hind end away from me. There are many different ways to train a Mustang. Every horse is different, and I approach training each horse individually. Join me as I take you through the highs and lows, the heart-pounding moments, and the soul-stirring connection that can only be found in training a wild Mustang. Here you can see another example of why I like to use the halter and drag line. As the horse walks around, you can see the rope going between his legs. As well as when he steps on it, he feels the pressure of the halter on his head. These things help me gauge the horse's reactivity, as well as the horse teaching itself to give to pressure. I'd like to note that during the gentling process, I do wear a helmet and cross-country vest to protect myself from kicks. I also use a hard training stick just in case I have a horse that will try to charge. You can see here, I try not to take my eyes off of the Mustang when entering its pen. When I first enter the pen, I don't ask the horse to do anything. What I'm doing here is gauging the horse's reaction. Are they curious? Are they more on the reactive side? Are they trying to run away? This guy isn't very reactive, and it seems he's more interested in getting back to his what I call safe spot. That corner that I'm in is where he's been standing for most of the time while I was observing him. So here I'm kind of reaching out with the stick to gauge how curious he is and how reactive he is, and see if I can't get him to start engaging with me. Again, he's mostly just interested in getting back to the safe spot. So I kind of allow him to go there. Again, I'm really liking his reaction. He's not very reactive to me. He is a little bit worried about this horse in the background. He's running around, snorting, and a little more higher energy. I like to let the Mustang dictate in the beginning what kind of approach I will have. If you do have a higher energy Mustang that is more reactive and likes to move its feet, I will use that approach and get them moving more and directing their feet. Doing things like sending them around, stopping, and changing direction. So now I'm just gonna kind of see if I can get his attention. See if I can get him connected to me a little bit. So you can see he kind of wants to walk down the edge of the corral. Right here I'll block him with my body and the stick and kind of direct his feet where I want them to go to keep him on that side of the corral. I use the stick not only to keep me safe, but as an extension of my arm so that my body can be further back while closing the gap between the stick and the horse, and then eventually my hand and the horse. So in the beginning, I'm just kind of playing around and see if I can, again, get him to attach to me and see if we can't start some form of communication. Again, he's being pretty avoidant. Not reactive, just avoidant. Trying not to engage with me. So when he turns towards me, I'm backing up. Not too much because I don't want to invite a charge. But here he turns his butt to me, which is a definite no-no in my book. And even though I am trying to get him to gain my trust, I don't ever allow the horse to turn its butt towards me. So I put just enough pressure on him and direct enough energy towards his hind end to get him to turn his hind end away from me, face me, and then step back to draw him towards me. So this kind of grabs his attention a little bit. And now he's a bit more engaged with me, less distracted. So now we're gonna start approach and retreat. Seeing if I can get him to acknowledge the stick. As you can see, my body language is relaxed and non-threatening. I have a leg and a hip cocked to one side, my shoulders down low. If I do have a higher energy horse or a more dominant horse, I match my body language to theirs, so I would be a little bit more dominant in my stance so that they knew that I can't be driven around or dominated. Trying to play off of his curiosity here, see if I can't get him to reach out and smell. Again, he wants to be avoidant, so I just kind of stick with him. There you can see his little nostrils go, so he is actually smelling a stick and acknowledging my presence for the first time, so I give him a release, and you can see that nice lick and chew. So in the beginning, you're going to see a lot of repetitive approach and retreat, rewarding the smallest try. Just building up, again, communication between us. Right here, I'm kind of mimicking the action of petting his face, even though my body is about, 10 feet away, and the stick is a couple feet away from his face. I'm still giving him the idea that eventually I'm going to be petting you, and there's going to be movement involved. So here I just stick with him, even though he's retreating a little bit. See if I can't get him to engage with the stick again. So I kind of bring it a little bit further back, see, and he gives me 2 eyes. So I release. See if I can't get a lick and chew from him. Start again. You can see he's still a bit distracted by the horse behind us and something on the hill. So I'm not going to release even though he gave me 2 eyes because he's not engaging with me. Still being avoidant here. So I'm gonna go back and forth and see if I can't get his attention again. Stick with it and be patient until he gives me the right answer. And there he goes. He even takes a step towards me as he's licking and chewing and shows me that he's getting the idea that I'm presenting to him. I like to give pretty big and long releases in the beginning so the horse understands the concept. That's the first time he kind of reached out for the stick to smell it. Almost touched it, but I don't want him to touch it yet because I want to make sure I still have his curiosity. You want to make sure you quit before it's too late. So that was really nice. He reached out to smell the stick and touched it, so I'm going to give him a really big release here. You can see his licking and chewing. He understands. Funny little trick that I learned from another Mustang trainer is when I want to get the horse to lick and chew, I actually lick and chew myself, and it actually works. We're both releasing tension and staying in the moment there. So normally with Mustangs, they have one side that they're a little more confident on. I'll actually stay on that side, approach and retreat from that side until they're pretty confident with that, and then try to make it even on both sides. But this Mustang is pretty interesting because he keeps offering me, as you'll see soon, his right side and then his left side. His right side, then his left side, which is pretty interesting. So here he gives me two eyes and acknowledges me, so again, I'm gonna release. And like I said in the beginning, each horse is different, and you want to approach each horse differently. So this guy is not very reactive. He doesn't want to run around. You can see somebody walks behind him, and he just kind of scoots forward, so I scoot forward with him. In the beginning, I keep sessions pretty short, about 10 to 20 minute sessions. Find a good place to stop, and then give the horse a break and go back in. It helps the horse to process and not get overwhelmed. And I find that you actually make more progress faster if you break it up into smaller sessions than spending hours with the horse. So I'm finding that approach and retreat works pretty well with this guy. Again, I don't let him turn his butt towards me. And I slowly creep my hand up the stick to make the distance between us shorter and shorter each time. You want to make sure that you're never trapping the Mustang, that it always has an out so that you do not get run over. So as you can see, he's in the corner, but I never get in front of him so that he has to run over me. And again, you see here, he kind of gives me his left side, then his right side. You'll see his left side, then his right side, which is pretty interesting. So now I've sped this up so that you can see how much patience it takes to approach this way. Things are staying relatively calm. He's being a little bit avoidant again, so I'm going to stick with it. And he didn't quite give me more than last time, so I'm going to wait till he gives me a little bit more than last time. So now that he knows what I'm asking, I'm gonna get a little bit more picky about when I release. So I wanna make sure that I am moving forward and that I'm either getting closer or I'm staying in the spot for a longer time, or maybe I'm moving to a different area. So there you can see I teach all of my Mustangs the touch it cue. Now that he knows when I approach, he needs to engage with the stick, I'm going to introduce the cue touch it. And that means he touches whatever I'm presenting to him with his nose. So in the future, this works great when there's a spooky object and I want him to be confident and approach it and touch it with his nose. For the first day with the 2 sessions, I'd say we spent about 20 minutes total working. The day was pretty busy helping with paperwork and loading horses for the South Carolina Mustang Challenge, so I didn't get much time in before we had to head out for the day. Here is day 2, session 1. I got there pretty early in the morning. I was by myself, so I could see if we could get a little bit further without distraction. So when I first enter the pen, I kind of ignore the horse. I don't want him to think every time I get into this pen he's going to be working or something's going to happen or I'm going to approach him. So kind of see I fiddled with my phone a little bit. I filled his hay bag, his water, and kind of just hung out a little bit before we started this session. So I'm gonna see kind of what he remembers from the day before. And he is pretty engaged pretty quickly here. I try out my touch it cue to see if he remembers that, and he definitely does, which is a great sign. So here you can see he backs up and turns his hip towards me, which doesn't put me in a very safe place because he could easily kick me. So I get a little acknowledgement from him and then back out of that space. He does turn his butt towards me, so I correct that. And then we just go back and pick up where we left off. So when things do get a little elevated, I like to reapproach the horse by asking it to do something it already knows. So in this case, the touch it cue, which builds its confidence back up before I ask it to do anything new. Again, a lot of repetition if you're approaching this way to the first touch. And you can see here, his funny little thing with right, left, right, left. So now we're doing a little bit on his right side. And I start with a touch it cue to get him engaged. And then again back to petting the air and petting his face. So there he kind of went to nuzzle the stick, almost as if he was gonna bite it. I don't really want to punish him because it wasn't an aggressive thing, he was more just curious. Maybe a little bit annoyed because he's being avoidant, but he didn't try anything naughty, so I kind of just ignored it and kept doing what I was doing, giving me some good lick and chews. So here you can see my hand is now past the handle of the stick, so we're getting a little bit closer here. And he is coming towards me, so it's a good sign. And now he's a little bit more comfortable on the left side, so what I'm gonna do is stop him from going right, left, and just really focus on his left side where he's more comfortable so I can push it a little bit more. And as you can see, I'm about halfway up the stick here, and I'm able to kind of rub him in between his two eyes and his nose, and he's doing great. So big release here. So I actually felt like I was getting close to the first touch, and so I turned on my phone camera to get a different angle, which was actually great because my GoPro died. So here you can kind of see a different angle. I'm pretty far up the stick here. And again, you want to quit before it's too late. So I'm pushing it, but just to the edge to where I'm not going to get a big explosion or I've pushed it too far and it's going to turn into a reaction. I want to quit before that happens. So here he got a little worried. No big deal. Just going to kind of reset everything. And he went to run off. Again, no big deal. Kind of sending him back into that safe place so we can continue. So here I kind of back my hand off a little bit, make sure he remembers that touch it cue, get him kind of settled back down and just start over. So I want to stop that kind of run forward to avoid. He knows what I'm asking of him now, and yeah, he's getting a little worried, but I'm gonna see if I can't just ask him to stay with me through that worry and continue on because I know that I'm getting close to the first touch here. So he goes to present his right side, and again, I'm focusing on the left side because that's where he's a little bit more confident. So I'm gonna direct him over and start again. Again, making sure he does have an out so I don't get run over. And here I'm pretty close, within inches, I'd say, of his face. And you can see that lick and chew. And he wants to present the right side, so I push him back over. Making sure I'm not stepping on the rope. That was really good. So I'm gonna give him a moment here. As you can see me do my weird lick and chew and deep breath, and you can see he mimics me here and gives a big release too. So here I'm probably about a centimeter away, but I don't get that touch because, again, I want to make sure that he's engaged and curious, and you can see his eye is really starting to soften here, and I can tell he's almost inviting me in for that first touch. So I take the opportunity and we get our first touch. And you can see the blinking and then a big release here. And that's really good. You'll find that most Mustangs have a preference of where they want to be approached in the beginning. Some on the face, some on the neck or shoulder, and even strangely enough, others even further back on their body. Mostly you'll see face or shoulder. This horse prefers the face, so that's what I'll stick with in the beginning and then gradually make my way back. So I go back again just to get one more touch in before I give him a big rest. You can see his eye is much softer now. Really good boy. Remember, it's not always about getting that first touch first in the beginning. Some horses that like to move their feet or are more reactive, you'll work on directing their feet first or even leading first, and then working your way to the first touch. Don't feel discouraged if you can't get that first touch quickly. There are plenty of things you can work on without touching the horse. Here is our third session on the second day. I always start the session reviewing something the Mustang already knows, in this case the touch it cue. I wanted to skip ahead and show you where to go from that first touch. In my next video, I'll go back and show you session 2 for this day, where I begin the process of leading. So remember to like and subscribe, click the bell to receive notifications, and learn how I start the process of leading and giving the pressure. As you can see, he's gained a lot of confidence, and I'm able to touch him outside of his safe area on the fence. Once he's super confident with the approach and retreat with the stick, I drop the stick and approach with just my hand. Each session builds on the last, and the horse gains trust and confidence in your relationship, and your communication grows. Thank you for watching my video. Feel free to check out my Facebook and Instagram page for more Mustang fun.